January 5th recap of the NBA and obviously fantasy games. So now let's get to the box scores here. We'll start off with the Brooklyn Nets and the Utah Jazz. And the Brooklyn Nets, they destroy the Jazz here. No KD, no problem in this one with a 130-96 victory. The Nets improved to 4-4 and the Jazz fall to 4-3 here. Now let's get to the box score. For the Jazz, Royce O'Neill, another start for him. He's been on the fantasy radar now the last few days here is O'Neill. And in this one, 25 minutes of play, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. O'Neill right now, he's playing decent. He's getting the starter minutes at 25, 30 minutes a game. But right now, I wouldn't add him in fantasy leagues. I would wait and see if his production's going to go up because he's giving you mediocre to middle of the pack numbers. Now Bojon Bogdanovic, a bad game here for him. I thought he was coming out of that slump after 2 good games in a row. But in this one, just everyone on the Jazz besides Mitchell and Goldberg had pretty bad games. And Bogdanovic in 26 minutes of play, only 4 points, 3 rebounds and assists. He only had 7 shot attempts. And he went 2 for 7 from the field and 0 for 3 from 3. So Bogdanovic, I think he'll be fine. Like I said, it was just a bad game here for the Jazz. So hopefully he bounces back tonight versus the Knicks for them. The next guy, Mike Conley Jr., he came back to earth a little in this one. 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. So Conley, I don't know if you checked out my guards to sell and trade this week, but Conley was on the list because Conley, he's up there in age. I don't know if he's going to make a full season this year, completing the season. Plus, I would trade him now while his values is super high. And in this game, he didn't do anything of relevance, like I said. So Conley, I would get rid of him if I can. If you could get a decent piece for him or a guy who's struggling, who will break out. Donovan Mitchell, this might have been his best game of the season here. 31 points in 29 minutes of play, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. The only problem with Mitchell, his shooting percentage has been bad this season. And once again in this one, he shot under 50%, 10 for 22 from the field, 8 for 10 from the line, and 3 for 8 from 3. Mitchell, he's a great player, no doubt about it. They obviously like him a lot over there in Utah. They gave him the max contract in the offseason. The only thing I want to see from him is those assists and that field goal percentage to go up as the games go on. And I think Mitchell tonight, though, versus the Knicks will have a huge game. Rudy Goldberg, another good game here as far as a couple stats, but his field goal percentage was bad, 3 for 10 from the field. He did have a minor double-double here, 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists in 27 minutes of play. So Goldberg, he was drafted in most fantasy leagues, 3rd, 4th round, possibly even the 2nd, and he's still putting up good numbers. Every night, he's pretty much a double-double guy. And he's going to get you 1.5, 2 blocks a game. Just his field goal in this one wasn't good, 30% from the field. So hopefully he bounces back for the Goldberg owners. Joe Ingles, it might be time to drop him. Once again, I know he's the 6th man here for this Jazz team. Him and Jordan Clarkson, 2 main guys off the bench. But in 22 minutes, another stat line with no impact. 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the line. So Ingles, if there's better options on your waiver wire, I think it's time to cut him loose. And like I said, if it's an 8 to 10 team league, you definitely get rid of him. 12 to 14, that's on the fringe of maybe cutting him, but I would hold on to him. But Ingles, he had some good fantasy seasons the last few years, and he was drafted probably in 60-70% of fantasy leagues this year. But so far this year, this Jazz team's up and down, and so is Joe Ingles. Now, Jordan Clarkson, you know what you're going to get from him. He's going to be the scorer off the bench here for Utah. And in this one, in 19 minutes of play, 12 points, 2 boards, 5 of 13 from the field, which isn't great, and 2 for 5 from 3. So Clarkson, you know he's a streak player. He's a pure scorer for this Jazz team off the bench. And if you need that on your team, he's a guy to go target. He's available in about 50-55% of leagues still. Derek Favors, 13 minutes, 2 points, 4 boards. He don't hold value. And the rest of these guys on this Jazz team at the time don't hold value. Now to the Nets box score. They changed the starting lineup up a little with Kevin Durant out. And they had DeAndre Jordan and Joe Harris come off the bench and Lau Karabat also. But anyway, Jeff Green got the start here at power forward for Durant. 19 minutes of play, 2 points, 5 boards. I know Durant is most likely out this week with the COVID restrictions, the protocol, whatever the deal is with him. But anyway, Jeff Green, he don't have fantasy value. He only played 19 minutes, like I said, even though this was a blowout game early and often for the Nets, but I would keep him on the wire. Taurean Prince, he got a surprising start here at small forward over Joe Harris, and he played 19 minutes as well with 8 points, 2 assists, 3 for 9 from the field, and 1 for 5 from 3. So Prince right now, he's not on the fantasy radar. We know in the past when he was on Atlanta, though, he did have fantasy basketball value. So right now, if he does become the starter permanently and he's going to play decent amount of minutes, he's a guy to keep an eye on. But right now, I would keep him on the waiver wire. Kyrie Irving, it's been a great season for him, but he's a player I set to sell high for the second week in a row now, because I don't know when Irving, that other shoe's going to drop and he's going to miss games and possibly be injured. He hasn't played a full NBA season in 4 or 5 years, is Irving, but the stats are incredible. And another good stat line here he had versus the Jazz, 29 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 12 and 19 shooting, and an efficient 5 for 7 from the three-point mark for Irving. So Irving this week, his usage and his numbers are probably going to be better with Durant out for the week. And then after this week, I would try to sell him off because I know he's going to miss games and I know he might not even make the full season. So this is the time to sell Kyrie Irving high. Bruce Brown here in this one, 6 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 3 for 5 from the field in 23 minutes of play. So Brown, he wasn't even in the rotation the first 2 weeks of the season, but with the Nets shaking things up here after becoming 3-4 into this game, they needed a win. They shook things up with Steve Nash and this coaching staff. And Brown, he had a decent stat line, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists in this one. He's another guy like Prince. If he's going to start getting major minutes and producing some stats, he's a guy to keep an eye on. But right now, he's not going to be on fantasy radars unless you're in a crazy deep league or something. And Jared Allen, he got the start in this one. 19 points, 18 boards, a huge double-double for him. And I've been saying this for weeks now in these reviews. He's the center you want on Brooklyn. DeAndre Jordan, they were not playing him many minutes, and his minutes have gone down, and now he's been relegated to the bench. So Allen, he's the player you want. He's going to get huge double-doubles from time to time like he did in this game, and he's a good field goal percentage guy. The only knock on him is he don't hit threes, and he's not a great free throw shooter. He went 3 for 7 from the line in this one. Karabot in this one, he got relegated to the bench, and he had a decent stat line off the bench, better than he's been doing in the starting lineup. 11 points, 3 boards, and an assist. But I still don't buy it for him. He's not on fantasy radars for me unless a few injuries happen to this net team and he starts playing major minutes and producing. Joe Harris in this one, he went to the bench. They gave this guy $75 million, and now he's a bench player. We'll see what happens with him. But in this one, he didn't do much. 10 points, 1 assist, 4 or 7 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. So Harris, you know, he's only going to help pretty much in free throw percentage, decent scorer, and 3 points. And in this game, that's what he pretty much did. So right now, his value definitely takes a hit a little here that he's out of the starting lineup. Karis Levert, another game where Durant missed, and another big one for Levert. And I've been saying Levert's a guy you just got to hold on to and see what happens with these net guys, because Irving and Durant, I know they're not going to play every game this season, and now when the week's over, Durant already would have missed 5 games, even though 4 of them aren't really his fault. But anyway, Levert, a good stat line in this, 24 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 9 of 18 from the field, 4 for 4 from the line, and 2 for 5 from 3. So Levert, with Kevin Durant out, he's been the second scorer on this roster, and now with the 2 games Durant's missed so far, he had 29 points the first time and 24 in this one. So obviously his usage and shot attempts go up when Durant's out. And Levert, he's going to be good for fantasy owners when that happens. Tyler Johnson, he got a surprising 18 minutes in this one, but he don't have value. I think he played a lot of minutes because this was a 34-point blowout this game for the Nets. Landry Shamet, he's not going to have value. He played 7 minutes. And DeAndre Jordan, I recommended to drop him early in the week. He only played 8 minutes in this one with 5 points, 4 boards, and an assist. And you can find that anywhere pretty much at the center position on the waiver wire. So that was the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets box score. Second matchup was the Lakers and the Grizzlies, and the Lakers improved to 6-2 on the season with a 94-92 victory over the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies fall to 2-5 now and last in the Western Conference here. Now to the box score, we'll start off with the Lakers and Anthony Davis. He had a big bounce back game here, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 of 20 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3. So Davis, his numbers haven't been that great this season where you drafted him and expected from him after seeing him having a crazy playoff run helping the Lakers win the championship. But in this one, it was a typical Davis game, 26 and 10. Good field goal percentage, and he added 4 threes. And Davis, he's going to be fine. It was early in the year. I think the Lakers, they're just going through the motions right now, even though they're still 6-2. LeBron James, another big game for him, 26 points, 12 boards, 7 assists, 11 of 20 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 3 for 3 from the line. So LeBron, like I keep saying, I thought he wasn't going to start the season playing many games, but once again he played every game this season, all 8, and another big game for him here. And LeBron, he's not slowing down anytime soon, it looks like, in fantasy or leading his teams to victories into the finals. Dennis Schroeder, middle of the pack game for him, 12 points, 2 boards, 6 assists, but a big 36 minutes from Schroeder. And Schroeder, he's going to get every opportunity here. He was one of the bigger off-season moves that the Lakers made, and he's going to have the ball a lot in his hands, and to still get 12 points and 6 assists with a mediocre shooting night, I think Schroeder will be fine, and he's a player that's going to be a big part of fantasy teams the whole season. Kyle Kuzma, another start and another quiet night for him, 30 minutes of play, 5.6 boards, 2 of 5 from the field, and 0 for 2 from 3. So Kuz, he didn't get a lot of field goal opportunities. It was good to see him get big minutes, but right now it's a wait-and-see approach with Kuzma here for this Laker team. Marcus All, he's not a guy you want on your fantasy team. And once again, a line that didn't have any much impact at all. 3 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 of 3 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3. So Marcus All, he shouldn't be on fantasy teams, and he's just a veteran presence and a guy who could give him some minutes in defense right now for LA. Wes Matthews, he came back down to earth in this one. 29 minutes and only 4 points, 3 boards, 1 for 4 from 3, and shooting on the night. And Matthews, I said he's not going to have fantasy value. He's not going to help teams, and he's going to be inconsistent. Horton Tucker, same type of thing as Wes Matthews. He didn't do much. He's not going to play every night 20-plus minutes, and he only had 4 points, 2 boards, 2 assists in 22 minutes of play for Horton Tucker, and he's not going to be on fantasy radar either unless they give him an opportunity to start over Kuzma if his struggles continue. Montrezl Harrell, obviously he's on most fantasy teams this season, and once again he had an okay quiet game, 9.7 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 for 9 from the field. And there's going to be nights where Harrell, he just doesn't play that much. Obviously, with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Schroeder being the 3 main guys here in LA and playing 30-plus minutes each and every game for this team. So Harrell, you'll get great games like the other night, 16 and 9, and then you'll get mediocre ones like this. And if someone in your league wants Harrell and you could get a decent piece for him, maybe it's time to trade him off. And the rest of the guys here, they don't have value. Marquis Morris, 14 minutes, 5.6 boards, and Caldwell Pope out with the ankle sprain, so we'll see how long he's out. Now to the Memphis side of things, Brandon Clark, another start, and he's another guy that's going to be inconsistent most nights, but in this game he had a decent game, 12 points, 3 boards, and an assist, 5 for 11 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3 for Clark. So Clark, he'll be owned in every 12, 14 team league. The 8 to 10 team leagues, maybe he's cuttable if there's better options on the wire, because like I just said, he's not going to be consistent the whole season is Clark. He's going to have games like this, and then he's going to have games where he has a huge game with a double-double. Kyle Anderson, in this one, he had a down game. 10 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. But I think it's only a bad game here for Anderson. He's getting every opportunity to play and play big minutes, and still no timetable for Jaren Jackson or Justice Winslow to return. So that small forward job is Kyle Anderson's to further notice. Tyus Jones, decent game. He was a recommended pickup this week, and he still filled the stat sheet decently here. 8 points, 8 assists, which is good. 3 for 8 from the field, and he added a 3. So Tyus Jones, like I said, I recommended him as a start as a pickup. I mean, this week in fantasy, and he's still out there in a bunch of leagues, and I would go out there and pick him. He's getting assists, he's getting the playing time here with 32 minutes, and he's gonna be decent for your team. Dylan Brooks, another good game for him. 29 minutes of play, 13 points, 5 boards, and he did add 3 threes. So Dylan Brooks this season, it looks like his shooting's improving, and he's been playing well for this Memphis team so far in the early going. Jonas Valanciunas, another game, another double-double for him, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 4 of 13 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. And Valanciunas, he's a walking double-double right now, it seems like, for this Memphis team. And the only thing with him over the years is health, but so far so good for Valanciunas, and he's giving fantasy owners good value, especially at the price they drafted him in the place in the 5th or 6th round. Dylan Bain, he didn't do much. 7 points, 3 rebounds, and assist. And Bain, obviously, he's only going to be a scorer and 3-point shooter to help fantasy teams, but he's going to be inconsistent as well. So if there's better options on your waiver wire, Bain, he's a recommended drop. If not, you ride it out with him. But him and Jones, they're going to be splitting pretty much the minutes here until Ja Morant comes back. Gorgie Zhang, he was a recommended ad, and he had a good game in this one with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist, and he added a 3. So Zhang, he's going to get every opportunity to play. Like I said, he's added that 3-point shot to his game over the last season, and he played good minutes in this one, and he had a decent stat line. So as long as Jaren Jackson's out, Zhang's going to be the backup, and he's going to play minutes. Now on to the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves here, with the Nuggets winning 123-116, and the struggles continue for the T-Wolves if they fall to 2-5 now. And things, it might be getting late early here for Minnesota. Onto their box score. Juan Hernan Gomez, he got the start in this one, and he had a huge fantasy game. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 of 14 from the field. And he added, surprisingly, 5 threes to this. Hernan Gomez, he's a guy to keep an eye on, but right now, it was only one big game out of him. So we got to wait and see if he could be consistent and put back-to-back huge games forward. But I would keep an eye on him. Jared Culver, he's been inconsistent. He don't really have much fantasy value right now. And another mediocre game for him. 22 minutes, 4 points, 6 boards, and an assist. Angelo Russell, he finally broke out in this one. What a huge game I've been waiting for, and fantasy owners have been waiting for Russell. 33 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 of 9 from 3, 10 of 21 from the field, and 9 from 10 from the foul line. So D-Russ, you know he's a good player. You know he's a dynamic scorer. And when he gets hot, he's going to have huge games like he did on this night. So Russell, as an owner, you just ride with him, man. You're going to have some bad shooting performances, and you're going to have great ones like this. And I think it's worth the reward waiting on Russell to break out. Malik Beasley, another decent game for him. But like I said in my video, I would sell him at guard, because if Russell's going to have big games, Beasley's numbers are going to go down, and that's what happened in this one. Russell had 33, Beasley only 15, and Beasley had 25 in his last game. So that's what's going to happen. Him and Russell on the same night, I don't think both of them are going to have 25-plus scored games. So this one, Beasley took a little bit of a backseat to Russell. 15 points, still added 6 boards, though. 4 assists and 5 of 16 from the field. That Davis, no fantasy value, but he started again here. 13 minutes, 4 points, 6 boards. Anthony Edwards, this guy took a lot of shots in this one, was the rookie. 6 for 19 from the field. 15 points, 3 boards and assist, and 1 for 7 from 3. So Anthony Edwards, he was the first pick overall in the NBA draft this season, and there's going to be growing pains with him. And the only knock on him is he's a great shooter, but he's going to be erratic and a bad field goal percentage type of guy, and we saw it in this one. But he should be owned in most fantasy leagues, is Edwards. Jared Vanderbilt, he had a decent game, but he's not on the radar. 11 points, 5 boards. Ricky Rubio, he was a recommended drop, and he had a bad game once again in 21 minutes. No points, 4 boards, 2 assists, so he could be dropped quite a lot in most leagues. And now Naz Reid, 2 points in 10 minutes. Hopefully it was just a fluky game and game flow, because Naz Reid, he was putting up good games and putting up numbers, but on this night, only 10 minutes of play with 2 points. So if he has a couple more nights with limited minutes, Naz Reid will be droppable. Now to the Nuggets side of things. Paul Millsap, he only played 15 minutes. 10 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. 5 for 9 from the field. And Millsap, it looks like his playing time starting to be limited now here for the Denver Nuggets. So if he has a couple more games where he's not playing big minutes and he's got a limited stat line, Millsap will be droppable. In 8 to 10 team leagues, he's not ownable, but 12 or more team leagues, you got to own him for now. Will Barton, he was a player I said to drop, but he came back with a good ball game in this one. 35 minutes of play, 20 points, 7 boards, 3 assists on 7 of 14 shooting for Barton. 2 for 7 from 3. Barton, it was good to see him have a good bounce-back game here and also shooting 50% from the field. And obviously, he was droppable in 8 to 10 team leagues. 12 or deeper, probably not. But Barton, his time played is going to go down, his playing time, and his stats once Michael Porter Jr. comes off that COVID list. Jamal Murray, after a huge game the other night, he came back with a bad one here. 13 points, 1 board, and 3 assists. So Jamal Murray, he's up and down so far this season. He's a stud still, in my opinion. And the thing on this night, it was Joker's night, and he went 3 for 7. Only 7 shot attempts for Murray, but he was still perfect from the line, 6 for 6. And I believe he'll bounce back in the next game. Gary Harris, he don't have fantasy value, but he had a decent game right now. 32 minutes, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for Harris, 4 for 8 from the field. But Harris, he's not doing much of anything big to be owned in fantasy leagues is Harris. I would keep him on the wire here, even though he's playing major minutes. Nikola Jokic, another huge game here. And this guy, he's living up to that first-round pick in fantasy drafts. I said he possibly could have been the best big man in fantasy this year. And so far he is with another huge game here. 35 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 12 for 20 from the field, 10 for 12 from the field, and 1 3. So Joker, he's putting up crazy stat lines this season. He's already got 2 triple-doubles on the year. And right here, another huge double-double in this game. So Nikola Jokic, he's a player that he could finish the year once again in the top 5, and he's not slowing down anytime soon. Campazzo, decent game here, 11 points, a rebound, 2 assists. He's a player to keep an eye on, but he's not addable at this time. Monty Morris, he was a player I said to add, but he had a down game in this one, and limited shot attempts, 1 for 3 from the field, 4 points, 1 boards, 2 assists. So Monty Morris, I would hold on to him and see what else he could do in the next few games. Jermichael Green, he had a big game in this one, 17 points, 6 rebounds in 20 minutes of work. But I need to see more consistency out of Green to see him have fantasy value. But right now, keep an eye on him. He also went 5 for 8 from the field, and he added a good 3 threes in 3 attempts. And PJ Dozier, he played in this one, 16 minutes, 3 points, 5 boards, but he don't have value. And Michael Porter Jr., he almost played in this one, but he might be out another game or 2 before he comes off the COVID list. So that was the Minnesota T-Wolves and Denver Nuggets recap. So the San Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Clippers in this one. The Spurs with a good victory here, 116-113. The Spurs got off to a quick start, and the Clippers had to play catch-up in this one, and the Spurs stopped the 4-game skid with the win over the Clippers here. And now to the box score. The San Antonio Spurs, we'll start with Kelden Johnson, another decent game for him. 9 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 for 11 from the field, and 1 for 3 from 3. So Kelden Johnson, he's a player I recommended picking up a few weeks ago, and he's putting in good numbers for this team. He's playing the minutes, 30, 35 minutes a game. He's getting opportunities, and he might be the new star over there in San Antonio in the next few years. These guys, it just seems like they get new guys, they build them up, and then they get new stars like we see over the few years. Tim Duncan, obviously David Robinson, then you had Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Ginobili. Now you got this kid Keldon Johnson here, Bojon Murray, pretty good. So this Spur team, they always have good players. They got a great system under Popovich. And Keldon Johnson right now looks like he's molding into a solid ball player. DeMar DeRozan, he had an off game in this one. And this is what I thought would happen with DeRozan. He would fall off a little, his numbers, because he started off the year, the first 3 or 4 games out of control. And DeRozan in this one, he didn't have a great stat line. 28 minutes of play, 6 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, 3 for 9 from the field. But it's just a bad game for DeRozan. But he still added 6 assists, which is good to see. His scoring will be fine as the season goes on. And it was just an off night. Lonnie Walker, he might be on the fringe of being dropped right now in some fantasy leagues. 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3 is Walker. He still played the minutes. He started in point guard in this one with Murray starting at the 2 guard. So the Spurs switching things up, and it helped them to get the victory here tonight. But Walker right now, he might be droppable with 1 or 2 more poor performances. Jamal Murray, he bounced back in this one, and he was a buy-low guard this week on that video, so check it out if you haven't. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 of 18 shooting, 1 for 1 from the line, and 2 for 5 from 3. So Murray, he was drafted in most drafts, 6th to 7th round. He's been putting up good value, and Derek White, once again, he's out with the toe fracture. Is White. So White, we're not going to have to worry about him. Murray, he's got the keys over there to the backcourt for this Spur team, and he's another guy on his way to becoming a good ball player in this league. Lamarcus Aldridge, it was good to see him come back with a decent line here. 14 points, 6 boards, 2 assists in 25 minutes of play, 6 for 16 from the field, and he did add 2 threes. And Aldridge now, the last few seasons, he's adding that 3-point shot to his arsenal, and that's a good weapon to have, especially the way the league's moved on to 3-point shooting being a must, and fantasy owners needing 3-pointers as a big category in fantasy. So Aldridge, he's adding that. He still could rebound decently, and he could get anywhere from 15 to 18 points on average this season. So Aldridge, he's back, and hopefully he stays healthy. Patty Mills, one of those games where he exploded, and now some people might run to the wire and try to get him. But Mills, I got to see more out of him. He's had games over his career and hot streaks like this where he shoots out of his mind, and then you pick him up and he don't do much. But Mills in this one, he had the game. 28 minutes, 27 points, 8 of 12 from 3, which he's not going to do again. 8 for 16 from the field and 3 for 4 from the foul line. So Patty Mills, he would help in scoring and assist on most nights. But don't expect him, obviously, to hit 8 threes. He was just riding hot in this one, and it was good to see, though. Rudy Gay, he was a recommended pickup this week, and another decent game for him. 16 points, 7 boards, 3 of 5 from 3, and 6 for 11 from the field. So Rudy Gay, you know you're going to get scoring from him. He's a decent rebounder as well, where he's going to get 2 or 3 a game, and it was good to see him have a good game in this one. Poultry, he got relegated to the bench here now, with Lamarcus Aldridge back in the lineup. And Poultry, I said it before and I'll say it again, he don't have value. 2 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. And Vessel here, 16 minutes of play, 12 points, 2 boards. He's not playing enough minutes or being consistent enough to be on rosters. And Derek White, once again, with a toe fracture, and he's going to be out for who knows how long, re-aggravating it. Now to the Clipper side of things, Nicolas Patoom, he's been a recommended pickup the last few weeks now, and he's not disappointing. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 of 5 from 3, 8 for 12 from the field. So Batum, he helps in a lot of categories. He's a solid player. He knows his best big game days are behind him, but he still could contribute to a team. And he's contributing a lot so far to this Clipper team and playing major minutes in the process. I know Marquis Morris is still out, and they paid him a boatload of money in the offseason. But Batum, I don't think he's going to be totally out of the rotation even when Morris comes back, when who knows when, with the right knee soreness. And plus Paul George was out in this one. But Batum, he filled in good and had a good game with major minutes. Kawhi Leonard, so far, he's exceeded my expectations. He played pretty much every game except 2 for Leonard, because he had the stitches in his mouth from the elbow from Serge Ibaka. But in this game, another good game for Leonard. 30 points, 3 rebounds, 10 assists, 13 from 22 from the field, and he added a 3, so a good game for Leonard. Hopefully he continues to play the majority of the games here for LA. Maybe back-to-backs he'll sit, but everything else he should play. Patrick Beverley, he had a big game in this one, but I still don't buy him as a fantasy option. 20 points, 8 boards, 8 assists in 32 minutes, and he had to pick the slack up probably for Paul George being out in this one. Luke Canard, he's had some okay games this year. They gave him a big contract, but him also, he don't have much fantasy value, in my opinion. 9.6 boards, 4 assists in 37 minutes, 3 of 10 from the field, then he added a 3. But Canard, you need to see more consistency. You need to see better shooting from him, and hopefully he gets it going. But right now, he's not on the fantasy radar. Serge Ibaka, he had an off game in this one, 3 points, 5 boards, an assist in 25 minutes of play, 1 for 7 from the field, and 0 for 2 from 3. So Ibaka, he's going to have some great games and bad ones. And in this one, he just couldn't get anything going. But he's going to be the center. He's going to play a lot of the big man minutes like he did in this one. And I think Ibaka will be fine. Lou Williams, he had a bounce-back performance. 15 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. But something's still off with Williams. He's not as elite of a 6-man off the bench like he was a couple seasons ago. Ever since the bubble last year, Williams, he's been off, it seems like, and he just hasn't had that huge game. Maybe he's in a slump or something, but hopefully he breaks out of it, and this could have been the start of it with a decent game here with 15 points. Zubac, 18 minutes of play, 2 points, 8 boards, and Zubac, a few weeks ago, I recommended him as a pickup, but right now, he's not playing enough minutes. He's not getting those great stat lines, and right now, he's just a guy off the bench filling in. Reggie Jackson, he played 15 minutes, 8 points, a rebound, and assist, but no value for him. And Paul George, he was out with right ankle soreness, or was it really that? Who knows? But George, he's been a fantasy monster so far this season, and the Clippers definitely missed him in this one with a tough loss. And now on to the last game of the night. The Chicago Bulls win an upset victory in Portland over the Trailblazers, 111-108. So the Bulls here, they've won, I believe, 4 in a row or 4 out of 5, but Chicago, they're playing better. Zach LaVine, he's really getting it going right now, and Kobe White. And we'll go to the box score here for the Bulls. Patrick Williams, pretty decent game for the rookie. 14 points, 3 boards, and an assist in 24 minutes of work. And he did add 2 threes, which is a good thing. And Patrick Williams, he's a rookie. They drafted him in top 10. He went this season in the NBA draft, and he's getting the opportunities right now, especially with Lauri marketing out. So Williams, I would hold on to him, and then when marketing comes back, you see what happens with their minutes and playing time. Otto Porter, he was a forward I said to sell high, and in this game, he had a good game for fantasy. 19 points, 13 boards, 7 of 14 from the field, and 4 for 7 from 3. So Porter, he's getting the job done. He's having good games, but I just can't trust Porter for whatever reason. I don't think he's going to sustain this. So right now, his value is pretty much at its top. And if I could get something good for Porter or add him as an add-on and try to get a big player in a trade, you should. Kobe White, a player I was big on coming into the season. And another good game for White here, 21 points, 10 rebounds, which is great, obviously, for a point guard, and 5 assists. The only thing, he's going to hurt you in field goal percentage, but he's still going to score the basketball. He's a good rebounder, obviously, and he's going to get 5 or 6 assists a game, and he'll add some threes, and he added 2 in this one. So White, he's going to get every chance. The Bulls are high on him. They drafted him last season in the first round, and it's good to see him producing. Zach LaVine, a mediocre game for his standards in this one. 42 minutes, 18 points, 4 rebounds. The assists were great to see, though, from LaVine with 9. 3 for 10 from 3 and 6 of 18 shooting. So LaVine, he'll be fine. He's a stud. We saw him score 39 points the other night. And in this one, actually, he helped with the assist at least, even though his points dropped. Walter Carter, in this one, Wendell Carter, in this one, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 for 9 from the field, 5 for 6 from the line. And Carter, he's going to have good games and bad games. And this one, it was a mediocre one, but to get 5 assists from him is a good sign here. And this Bull team, they were moving the ball well, which led them to victory. Gary Temple, 28 minutes. He had a decent game, 14 points, but I don't buy into it as him being a fantasy option just yet. Thaddeus Young, 23 minutes, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Young, as he's coming back now off injury, he's starting to play more, and maybe he could carve out a decent role and have some fantasy value like he did the last few years is Young, because he could give you a little bit of everything like we saw in this stat line is that, but still I would keep him on the wire until he has a couple good games. Everyone else in this one, they don't have value at this point, and Lauri Markkanen, we'll see when he comes back and how many minutes he'll play as Markkanen, but right now, it's not a good sign for Markkanen. It might be another lost season the way it's looking for him now to the Portland side of things. Derrick Jones Jr., another start, and he didn't do much. 5 points, 3 rebounds, and assist. He's a better real-life player than fantasy for this Portland team, so he's a player you shouldn't be looking at. Robert Covington, I said to buy him low, and in this game, he had a good game, man. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 for 10 from the field, then he added 4 threes. So Covington, I said it might take a few weeks to acclimate to this system here with the Portland Trailblazers, but he had a good game. Last year he played with Harden and Westbrook. He plays with Lillard and McCollum, so obviously he's not going to have the ball in his hands that much, but he's a spot-up shooter. He could shoot threes, he could rebound the basketball, and he could help in the steals category. So if Covington somehow got dropped in your leagues or the owner's looking to trade him, he's a player I would definitely would look to get, and you wouldn't have to break the bank for him. Dame Lillard, he's a stud for a reason. He was a first-round pick, and another good game from him. 24 points, 5 boards, 9 assists. Just a field goal was off in this one, 6 of 17. But Lillard, obviously he's a stud, and you don't got to worry about him. Same with C.J. McCollum. 35 minutes, 26 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 6 threes he added for 14 attempts. 10 for 21 from the field. So McCollum and Lillard, you know what you're going to get. Good scoring. 3-pointers, rebounds, and assists. They do it all, and they're fantasy studs. Jusuf Nurkic, he had one of his bigger games of the season here, and he was a player I said to sell off this week. 12 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists for the Nurk, and he had 15 shot attempts and hit 6 of them. The only thing with him, Enes Kanter has been the better player so far at the center position, but on this night, Nurkic proved to be the better player for the Trailblazers, but I still would sell him off. It's only one game, and we got to see more consistency out of Nurkic. Carmelo Anthony, you know what you're going to get from him. He's going to score. He's going to get some rebounds, and he's hitting threes now, is Anthony. 27 minutes of play, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 for 6 from downtown. So Anthony, he's going to help, like I said, in that categories, and he was a recommended pickup more in deeper leagues than shallow. Gary Trent, he had a good game here. 18 minutes, 13 points, a rebound, 2 for 5 from 3, 5 for 10 from the field. So Gary Trent, you know you're going to get similar things like you do from Anthony from him. He's a pure scorer. He can shoot the 3 ball, and him and Anthony are the 6th or 7th men on this roster here for the Trailblazers. Enes Kanter, it was an off game for him in terms of scoring, and he only played 15 minutes, but he still racked up the rebounds, 10 boards, 2 assists. He's still a recommended pickup. This guy's a walking double-double. Just on this night, the game flow or whatever the reason was, he only had 3 shot attempts with Kanter, but he'll be fine. So that was the NBA and fantasy recap here for January 5th.